Hey guys, I'm Adrian from the Digital Dojos at digitaldojos.com, and today we're going to be overviewing and taking a look at iOS 6 for the iPhone 4S. Now, this isn't my iPhone 4S, this is actually my sister's 4S that I took, and I'm going to be upgrading to, I have upgraded to iOS 6 in order to give you guys an overview, as I am on my 4S and I still am on 5.1 as I'm jailbroken. I have a lot of things on my phone, and I do not plan on upgrading to iOS 6 until I get my or I don't plan on upgrading because I'm going to be getting my iPhone 5, which will be on iOS 6, which I can do all the stuff I need to. And there's just a couple things on my jailbreak that I really do require me for work and all of that, and just for everyday use. So I'm going to be talking about iOS 6. I'm going to be giving an overview, and I'm going to be talking whether or not you really need to upgrade and all of the jazz that you need to know related with iOS 6. So first off, let's take a look at what is an iOS 6, and you can see all here. And I want to talk mainly about what is compatible with the iOS 6, or what you need, what devices you can be on to upgrade. So you can see here, iPhone 3GS through iPhone 5, anything in between those are compatible with iOS 6. Now you're also going to need to take note that some of the features on iOS 6 will not be available on certain devices. For example, I believe the 3GS and 4 don't get stuff like turn-by-turn directions and maps just because of the graphics processing it requires. iPod Touch 4 and iPod Touch 5th generation will be able to update to iOS 6. iPad 2 and the new iPad or iPad 3rd generation will also be able to upgrade to iOS 6. What you need to upgrade to iOS 6, you can update your iTunes. You'll see the update available. You can also go into General About settings and look at the over-the-air update, which is also available. You can update over Wi-Fi onto iOS 6. So that's pretty much all you need to know about iOS 6 compatibility-wise, and you can upgrade again. So if you have nothing to lose, if you're not jailbroken like me, and I'll talk a little bit about this more, you can go ahead and upgrade to iOS 6. I think it's totally worth it in that aspect. All right, so let's recap all the top features over here on what's new, and I'm going to be kind of going over it here on the iPhone to the right. So first off, the Maps feature. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Maps feature. All right, here we are in Maps. This is Maps. This is the new Maps feature that is open. I believe Apple purchased it from Open Maps, and now they're doing their own Maps thing. And you can see here I'm in that 3D kind of flyover mode view here. Not necessarily where the buildings are at, really. I'm just kind of in the Las Vegas area. But you can kind of see the gestures. You can't really see how I'm using my fingers, but basically this is how you kind of fly over. It is kind of an awkward way to kind of, if you were to want to take directions or anything. I guess I can switch views here also. You can see here all the data is taken from TomTom and stuff like that, so that's how it handles all of that. You can switch views from satellite view to standard view or hybrid view, and all of that. So you can also see, as I kind of pan out here, that 3D view, you can see the full globe there. So that's kind of cool if you're into that stuff. And again, if you can see I'm all the way here in Japan as of current, but I can zoom in on anywhere in the world, and it is a cool kind of 3D high tech view. And again, if you're in a city with buildings and all that, you can tend to see all the buildings and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool if you're into all of that. And you can see the standard view if I click right here, and you can see there's just the United States. So I can go around here and navigate as needed. So that's the new maps. I mean, nothing, I'm not a huge proponent user of maps, but if you are into all of that, you can check all of that out. And this is the new maps. Again, it's not Google integrated. It's not Google Maps. It's their own system. It has that new flyover view, which I think is kind of cool. But I mean, if you're not a huge user of that, I mean, it's not nothing too special. If you aren't, a huge user of maps and all that. All right, next, let's take a look at Siri. Siri has been upgraded to be a little bit more understanding, and it has a more broader view of stuff. So first off, I want to go into the Siri settings here, general into Siri. You can see Siri has a couple of new things. It has tons of support for new languages. So you can see that it has support for stuff like Spanish, Spanish Spain, Spanish United States, Italian, German, and stuff like that. So Siri speaks in a whole bunch of different languages, and can interpret with foreign languages if you are abroad, etc. You have your basic options like your My Info if you want to set that up, and your voice feedback and all that. That's always been there. But what Siri is different now is now it can help you in that it is better at understanding certain questions that you ask it, much relating to everyday things like sports and movies. So, for example, I can say, "Show me movies with Christian Bale." And you can see Siri will search here, and what it'll do is it'll take sources, and it will show me.
If I can find you a movie with Christian Bale.
the latest results starring Christian Bale in these 25 movies are used as a Rotten Tomato for ratings, and I can actually click on a movie like The Fighter here and watch the trailer, see the synopsis of the movie and all of that, and the runtime and all that. Really, really cool. I mean, that's awesome if you're about to go to a movie and or you just want to find a movie. You can ask your phone. Really cool stuff, and you don't have to download any extra apps that's built in. Additionally, I can say something about sports, for example. How are the Lakers doing?
The Lakers were beaten by the Thunder on May 22nd, 2012. The final score was 106 to 90. The Lakers are out of the playoffs.
So you can see here, it takes a little bit of an older score, even though this is the older season, and you can see the final. It shows you the scores, it shows you how they did it, and shows you even like it understands that they were out of the playoffs. I can ask them how the Lakers are standing also, and it would show me the scores and it would show me that the NBA season hasn't started yet. But it's the element of how Siri understands stuff like this and the questions you ask it and how it can respond to you. Certain everyday things with sports, movies, has some other things, has some integrated you can do like restaurant reservations and all that. So definitely a bigger upgrade to Siri and a little bit more convenience that it provides with the questions you can ask it and all that. Nothing super major, nothing crazy out there, but it does have support for all that and also has better support for like local places where you ask it. That's always been an issue with me asking it like restaurants and stuff like that in certain areas. It's been updated. So that is the new Siri. All right, let's take a look at Facebook and Facebook and Twitter integrated. It's definitely now integrated into iOS, whether you like it or not. There's a couple things you would notice if you go into your contacts and calendars. I'm not going to do that because this isn't necessarily my phone and I don't want to give away any contacts. But that will show you all the, you can integrate Facebook that way once you set that up. You can go into settings here, go back to general, go back in here, and down below you'll see you have settings for Twitter and or Facebook. So you can set up Twitter, and this is going to make sure you have the official app installed. You log in as required. Same thing with Twitter, log in as required, and you will be able to, do stuff like if I scroll down here, I can say tap to tweet. I can say, there's other stuff you can do like within certain apps, you can share photos via Twitter or Facebook. So it has that built-in Twitter, Facebook, and integration now. Additionally, you also have shared photo streams. So if I go into shared photo streams, basically what this does is it allows you to share certain albums or certain photos with people in iOS 6. Other people who have iOS 6, you can build little photo stream albums to share between each other. So if you guys went on a vacation together, you guys can kind of collaborate and share all your photos in one place rather than having to share your whole library or tons of pictures, where you can just make a specific album and share it out to your friends. Really, really cool. I think it's also builds onto the whole photo stream iCloud stuff. And you guys can add stuff like comments and notifications to the photos. You can even have a web view. So if you use iCloud, you can use make a family photo thing, and people can view it on the web using the web viewer. So really, really awesome. Again, this is the new shared photo streams. All right, Passbook. Passbook is the simplest way to put all your passes in one place. This allows you to stuff boarding passes, tickets, store cards, coupons. This is something that's slowly moving into to the world now, and to society. More scan with your phone, pay with your phone type of applications. And Passbook, it just allows you to kind of have a digital wallet where you can store all your tickets, your store cards, coupons, so you don't physically have to carry all this stuff around. It's a cool convenience app in my opinion. But it's something like somebody like me, I won't necessarily use this because it does require you that places support this and all of that. So sometimes there's some issues there and all that. You do need to download the app by going into the App Store. It's kind of just like a shortcut built into iOS 6. You click App Store and it'll take you to the App Store and you can download that. Speaking of the App Store, let's take a look at the new App Store. This is the new App Store. It's definitely nicely integrated. It has a much more sleeker interface on the featured page, charts, etc. Even the search. Necessarily, I'm not a huge fan of the search here. I'm going to go ahead and open this up here. You can see when you search something, you get this interface where you kind of swipe to the right and you get these cool bigger views of all the applications, the free, the rating, the price, I should say, the picture, and all that. But I don't necessarily like this in terms like this where you have 106 of them. It's going to be a pain to kind of swipe through and go through all 106 of these. I think it should have a list view option to switch to if there's like tons of apps that you're trying to search for and all of that. So this is the new App Store. This also upgrades the iTunes Store, all the other stores built into the iOS 6 as well. So that is the new App Store. All right, FaceTime. If you are a FaceTime user, I don't necessarily have the FaceTime icon up here, but FaceTime is also something now you can talk over cellular. So FaceTime now works over cellular as well as Wi-Fi, so you can make and receive FaceTime calls wherever you happen to be on your device, whether it's on your iPad or phone. If you have 3G, you can now receive calls and all of that. All right, let's talk about the phone, the phone application. So there's a new dialer and little small cool interface tweaks and stuff like that. Additionally, you also have options where you can go into settings here and mess around with the do not disturb functionality. So going into settings here at the very top, you have this do not disturb mode, which you can activate, and you can see a little moon icon appears at the top here. And if you go into notifications, you can check your do not disturb settings. Do not disturb is really, really cool. And honestly, it's one of my favorite features in iOS 6. It allows you to schedule stuff where you can schedule when or when not to receive calls, which is something that's really cool because like a lot of times when I'm working or if I'm sleeping, I kind of don't sometimes some you don't want to receive calls. You don't want to be waked in the middle of the night, stuff like that. Or if you're at work, you don't want to be disturbed. You can additionally allow calls from certain people, so you can allow them from contacts, everyone, no one, or a specific group that you can make. So this is really cool in terms of like maybe you want only your family to be able to contact you while at work. That way, if anybody else like your friends are calling you, you're at work, you don't want to be disturbed type thing. Repeated calls. Repeated calls is an emergency. So let's say somebody calls you once and then it doesn't get through, but maybe it really is an emergency and they call you twice within 3 minutes. The phone will not be silenced. That way they can get through to you in case again it's an emergency and they really need your attention for whatever reason it may be. So that is do not disturb. Additionally, you also have the new send to voicemail, reply with a message, or remind me later feature within when somebody calls you. Now, this phone isn't on a service as of right now, so when somebody calls you, this is the menu would show up. You can slide to answer. You can reply with a message or remind me later to call them back. You can have preset messages like I'll call you later, I'm on my way, I'm driving. You can set up custom messages like that, which I think is really, really awesome because nowadays we have our phone a lot, and especially in situations where we cannot answer, iOS has finally integrated for us a way to reply automatically back when we're in certain situations. All right, some other features that have been integrated here. The mail icon you can see there just popped up. We have new services like VIP, which is kind of like a priority inbox sort of thing, which I'm not really going to go into the mail inbox, but you can see here you have a VIP inbox. You can also add photos and videos to email with just a few taps now, so it's just easier integrated. Safari also has some updates. Safari now has stuff like iCloud tabs. So if you're browsing on a certain device, you can pick up where you left off. So let's say you're browsing on your iPhone, you get home, you can pick up where you left off on that web page on your MacBook Air or your iMac, whatever. So that if you have that integrated, you'll see the iCloud tabs feature. Some apps will also support what they call full screen landscape mode. So websites fully snap to full screen landscape mode if they have that supported. You also have a full offline reading list. So web pages that aren't just links, you can actually save them in your reading list if you want to do so. You can see the new kind of gesture here. You can add to reading list. You can print, bookmark, copy, add to home screen, tweet, Facebook, and message or mail. So this is the new kind of sharing feature. And again, you can add it to a reading list where you can save it for offline reading access for maybe a blog or something of that nature that you want to read while you're like on the go and you'll have no connection. All right, last but not least, accessibility issues. Accessibility issues is something I don't normally talk about, but a lot of people tend to take for granted and not mention. But accessibility, I can go here into the settings down here. I think it's under, where is it here? It should be under general, I believe. General, scroll down, accessibility. Now, these are features for, most of these features are for people who have certain, may have a certain disability or accessibility issue where they maybe they cannot see or maybe they cannot hear. So the iPhone and iOS in my opinion has done a great job at I know a lot of people who've used who are blind and they have an iPhone or are deaf and they have an iPhone. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the iPhone in terms of like voiceover if you do not have perfect vision when viewing your iPhone. There's stuff like large text you can activate. They have stuff for hearing aids, so you can actually use Bluetooth for hearing aids. So that's really another awesome feature built in iOS 6. New stuff they've integrated in iOS 6 for the learning mode is something called guided access. Guided access is something you typically see in stores. This allows you to keep the iPhone or iPad or whatever device you're on in a single app mode. It allows you to control which features are available to that certain application. So you can take features out. You can have it so they can't go back to the home screen. You typically see this in Apple Store sometimes where they have something open. Guided access is a cool learning tool, so you can kind of you can use that as please. I mean, I think this would be really cool in school environments or something like that, where you only want them to be on one specific application so they can't go on browsing the web and stuff like that. You can set stuff like passwords. You can see if I turn that on, you can set passcodes, enable screen sleep, and stuff like that. So the accessibility issue is something that people take for granted. Is awesome. iOS does it so well, so integrates it so well into the operating system that it can be used by people who are deaf or blind or stuff like that. So definitely a cool, awesome plus feature and built into the iOS. They've always had that, but iOS 6 just integrates that new guided access feature. All right, so that is all. That's about it. What's in iOS 6? That's a feature by feature basis. I may miss out on some minor things. Speed wise, it's about the same. I mean, I've done some tests against iOS 5. There's minor interface changes or minor speed increases here and there. So it is awesome. It is definitely a cool new upgrade. In my opinion, if you are on a 4S, anything that's compatible with iOS 6 and you're not jailbroken, you don't necessarily have anything limiting you back, go ahead and upgrade. You're not going to lose any crazy features. There's not going to be really anything that you're going to be missing out on if you upgrade to or there's not anything you're losing in terms of upgrading to iOS 6. If you have a lot of stuff that maybe an application that only works on your iOS version right now, it may not be compatible with iOS 6. If you're like me and you're jailbroken and you need your certain features, then do not upgrade. I mean, you're not missing any cool features. I mean, there is some stuff, a lot of stuff that people thought that would be cool in the iPhone 5, like something I didn't mention here, but camera also has this new panoramic mode, and user interface changes here. You can see that new panoramic mode. If you go into options and take a panoramic picture, basically you just move the iPhone across as you take a picture, and it would stitch a panoramic photo together for you. That's definitely a cool new thing. But again, that's available on all devices. Not only that, you can go on other devices, and let's say you're not on iOS 6, you can download a panoramic application. They've always been available in the App Store that do just as better. They're just not integrated into the operating system. So again, if you're on an older device and you have features that you need and require you're jailbroken, you're not really missing out on much by not upgrading to iOS 6. It's just really a lot more stuff is just neatly integrated into the operating system. But a lot of stuff you can get third party, you can get from the App Store, you can get from jailbreak, tweaks, all of that. But again, if you're just stock iPhone, stock iOS, definitely upgrade. iOS 6 is worth it in that aspect. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video, this full overview. I will have a few full blog posts up at digitaldojos.com where you can read my full opinions, thoughts, more details on it. Thanks a lot for staying tuned to the end of this video. Again, if you made it through, go ahead and comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks a lot for watching.